Welcome to our short story interview about Grace Paley, or should I say Grace Goodwin?
Doesn't matter.
Already. So, Sally, can you tell us more about this unique author, please?
Grace Paley is intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, and famous.
Already. What's her background?
Her real name was Grace Goodside, and she was born in December 1922 in New York. She was also an American short story writer and a poet.
Already. What's her childhood?
She was the youngest child of Russian Jewish family immigrant. She loved to write about fiction.
Mm-hmm.
From an early age, she wrote poems, and at the age of 17, she took a course with the British poet W.D. Auden.
Mm-hmm.
And she was also a tomboy.
Oh, so she was like
Uh-huh.
dresses like a guy, basically, or like
Like a guy.
like a boy.
Mhm.
Oh wow, interesting. Can you introduce us to her family?
Her father's name was Isaac Goodside. Her mom's was Mania Goodside.
Mm-hmm.
Her siblings were Jenny and Victor Goodside. She had a daughter and a son, which were Nora and Danny Paley. She married Robert Nicole, and then again she went and she married J.C. Paley.
Oh, so she was married twice.
Yeah, she was married.
Oh, really interesting. Well, did she get any education in her time?
Yeah, Paley was educated and she attended St. Catherine Academy, the New School, New York University, and also Hunter College.
What was her career earlier?
She began teaching in the early 1960s and she became involved in the anti-nuclear movement in the early 1950s, which then she started writing stories.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, so that means she was actually kind of famous when she started doing those stuff.
She was famous.
Well, amazing,
rocked.
amazing. Already. Well, as a famous person, did she have had any achievements?
Actually, yeah, she had a lot of achievements, and one of them was that she was known for her 3 collection of stories, which were
Mm-hmm.
Little Disturbance of Man, Numerous Changes at the Time Minute, and later the Saints Day.
Uh-huh.
These were the things she.
Well, that's very interesting. Well, how did she die and when?
Paley had been ill with breast cancer for some time. After some days, she died at her home in Thetford. She was 84 years old, and also where she died was actually in her apartment in Manhattan.
Well, that's actually pretty sad, but it's great to know about a great writer and artist like her. Well, what were her skills and interests?
She was a storyteller and a story writer. She loves to write and to write poems as well. She was a reader, and above all, she was a supporter.
Amazing. Well, can you tell us one of her stories?
Sure. Actually, one of her stories is called An Interest in Life. And this story actually talks about an ordinary woman who was called Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And the story all started when Virginia's husband deserts her to go to the army. Well, their relationship was not really that good. It was bitter, and they had a lot of fights, and it was so bad. Until one day, her husband departs. She begins to adjust to her new life, which was like a 26-year-old woman adjusting to a single life. And not just that, but also as a mother raising her 4 children. It was not an easy thing for her. She was going through a lot, especially social services, agencies, school bills, and above all, she faced a lot of difficulties with her loneliness and also the anger she had in her heart, not knowing when or even if her husband is ever going to come back again. And that put her in a lot of depression and overwhelming situations. And also, one day, somebody came to her life, which was actually John. John came to her life to rescue her from all that she was in, all that she'd been through. And when he came with devotion to comfort her, to make her feel different, you know. And John was really going well. I mean, he was good. I mean, that he was good to the kids and to her, and she feels good around him. And but the problem with her was that she was hesitant. She was hesitated to accept him. She was scared that maybe if she accepts him, one time again he would leave. But
Yeah.
no, he was not like her husband. I mean, he was really gonna commit to her. But then she still continued being hesitated about her feelings to him. I mean, but then the good thing was he was always good to her. One time, uh, one time John decided to leave, leave for good and to never come back again. But then the bad thing about it was he never knew that his leaving might also affect her emotionally.
Wow,
Also
alright.
mentally. Yeah, she was affected so badly with that. He left, and with the thought of thinking that he would never want to come back again because she was somebody who was hesitated and she didn't know what actually she really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is, I mean, it wasn't a good thing, it was a bad thing because she was heartbroken and then that other guy she trusted also wants to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So she abandoned the idea of him coming back again. She lost hope totally. Until one time she decides to go on a TV game show that's called Strike It Rich.
Ooh.
And on that TV show, I mean, she gave some couple requests, and those requests really made her feel so bad about her life and everything
Yeah.
that she was almost gonna cry and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Until she started to read, to think about all these requests, and she started to realize that all she really needs was an interest in life for everything to be good. If she have interest in life, everything in her life is really gonna work well throughout the bad and the good. But after she realized that, guess what? Her doorbell rings. Who's there? It was John. So John was there, but actually he was only there to tell her goodbye, to say goodbye to all the good times they had. But the good thing was the list she made and John's return were, let's say, in a good time, because after that when they met, they talked and they figured out things and all that, and she decided to accept John in her life. And also John stayed, not just stayed, but also they stayed together very happily, and he made her happy and stable for good. That was the story.
Well, that's actually really interesting. Wow. And I like how the story started and how she did not have some sort of beliefs. And then all of a sudden, when she got the click and she was like, oh, I need to have an interest in life in order to keep going. She needed that gas to basically keep her going. And it was John, basically, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do the character in the story brings out the theme?
Actually, the character in the story was more, let's say the theme of the story was more like a love thing, like a lost passion.
All right. Well, how does the author tune enhance the story?
The tone of the author was more like miserable and bitter at first, but then at the very end, it was like a happy ending.
What about the settings?
The setting of the story was mostly at home, but with some outdoor. I mean.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us more about the protagonist and antagonist.
Okay, so the protagonist in this story was actually John, because he was the good guy here, and he was the person who showed Virginia a lot of love and care and all this, no matter how she used to push him back. And the antagonist here is her husband, because he left her with her kids. He left her. And
Yeah,
also,
basically left.
yeah.
Well, already not a problem. Well, what was the conflict in the story?
The conflict in the story was actually when her husband left, and when she was actually trying to to have a controversy with her feelings, emotions, to stay, to be stable, so that she can continue with life, even with her kids, even though her husband left. She was like trying to move on and all that.
Interesting. Well, do you find any similarities between the author and any modern writer, or any difference?
Actually, I'm gonna compare her to Shakespeare. The differences between them is that Shakespeare writes more about death and stuff, and she writes things about passion and love and all this. And the similarities is that they both sound broken-hearted and all that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you say it that way, then yeah, it could make sense, of course. How does the story remind you of someone you know?
It doesn't remind me of anyone.
It doesn't, right?
No.
Well, how about these are the literary questions analysis. So why was she feeling the way she was?
She was feeling this way because she was overwhelmed and broken. So she was feeling like she was lonely, and she was always angry because she needed some comfort.
Mm-hmm. Well, makes sense. And what restored her heart?
John restored her heart when he devoted and faithfully stayed committed to her.
Well, did John bring her happiness?
Happy ever after happiness with stability and in her emotions.
Well, that's a very interesting story, Sally, and I thank you very much for this great.
Before I finish, actually, I'm supposed to end with a quote, and the quote is written by me, and it says, "The best way to win someone's heart is to make them trust you."
Well,
thank you.
That is great.